Hi, welcome to another edition of Boston SciFi Presents podcast. And tonight we have two of my favorite people on. We have Suzzanne Cromwell and Melissa Starker, and we're going to talk about the process and some of the shorts that we are showing in SF50, which is around the corner. So, Suzzanne, you want to say hi?
Hi, everybody.
Melissa?
Hello.
All right, so we're going to just jump right in. And the first short we're going to show a clip from, and let's just back it up a little bit. I'm sorry, I jumped the gun there. Um, as a science fiction film festival, we get around 300 submissions of short films every year, and Suzzanne and her team and the rest of the Boston Sci-Fi team whittle that down to about 45 or 50. And even then, it's really, really difficult for us to choose because the quality is so good. And we'll get into a little bit about why shorts are really important in the ecology of cinema and film festivals. But before we get there, let's take a look at Humanzy, which was produced and directed in Boston. So here's Humanzy.
My vibrational self emits positivity, and the law of attraction aligns with my spiritual rhythm.
My vibrational self emits positivity, and the law of attraction aligns with my spiritual rhythm. Ziggy!
I like that trailer. You know what I like about that trailer?
Trailer.
No cut a trailer. And I've always believed that if a filmmaker knows their stuff, they will cut a good trailer. And Humanity's a good trailer. You can see it's a low budget film, but you can see that they put a lot of thought into what's going on. And Suze, this came out of our Film Festival submissions, right?
It did. Mhm.
And do you remember the process of what was going on with the judges as they were looking at that film?
Well, I can definitely say that when I first saw it, I was immediately sold. It is it's a film that tells a very unique and dark story. So I have to say, there were some different opinions about about the film, and which is one of the great things that I love about film selection is everybody has a seat at the table when they talk about the films that they enjoyed watching and why they enjoyed them and why they recommend them or why they may recommend that we pass on them, and that makes it so much fun. We have like a great back and forth on the platform. But this really piqued everybody's curiosity, and the story was so tight and so well told in such a short amount of time. It was just really a great film from start to finish, and a storyline that we've just never seen. So,
Mel, when Suze was beginning that, she talked about how dark it was, and I think some folks have a misconception of what the range of emotion and a range of palettes and colors and textures these short films have. Could you talk a little bit about how broad that is or how wonderful it is?
Yeah, absolutely. So I will plus one with Suze in terms of this is not like anything that I have seen before, and it definitely went places I did not expect. But it's interesting. I was watching a few more shorts last night that I hadn't had a chance to catch up with before doing this today, and a great example actually came out of some of the stuff I watched last night. So you have Humanzy, which is a very it's very intense. It's got a little bit of graphic violence. It's kind of it's very high tension in its darkness. But then I watched a movie last night, actually, on Suze's recommendation, that this was one I had to see, called Factory Drop. And that is a very dark film in its visuals, in its general tone, but the darkness is used to such different ends and effect. And such a great film. And so that's really more of a dystopian, kind of a Orwellian feel of people that are trapped in a machinery of society, whereas this obviously is about maybe science gone wrong, about familial love and maternal love, and then so that's just two examples, and there are a few other examples of films that it's like, sometimes dark can be a little bit off-putting, but in just about every case, it was like, no, I still want to keep watching. I want to watch till the end. And that's one of the beautiful things about shorts, is that even if maybe it doesn't go quite the way you wanted it to, you're only out 5 minutes.
Well, actually, shorts are getting longer these days, aren't they?
They are getting longer these days. Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about that. I mean, I have my own theories about why there are so many shorts.
Well, I will say this year we saw, I think that this year the shorts were shorter. And just from my recollection of the last couple of years, we did have some longer form short films come in. But overall, I think our films pretty much stayed within 10 to 20 minutes, and some a lot less than 10. But which is a delight. There's nothing like seeing an incredible story in such a short amount of time, which is just what attracts me so much to the art form. And there's just I know that we might touch on all the reasons that short films are really such a great creative way to express ideas and stories. But there are some, I would like to hear your thoughts, Garen, on the longer form shorts. We have had shorts come in at 45 minutes, 50 minutes, almost an hour, 30 minutes. And occasionally we do accept shorts that run about 25 to 30 minutes. And we are very selective about those, actually.
Well, to answer your question, for me, it is not so much the length of the short, but whether the story fits well within the confines of its time. And I think what I enjoy a lot about the shorts that I see is how these creative people have either told a very, very short, concise, wonderful, snappy story, or they've taken a chance to actually get some character development in other directions that you wouldn't have normally expected, but still not make it a full movie. But I think one of the reasons that there are so many shorts out there is, once the means of the production is now affordable and in their hands, and software these days is so much better that you can put together something really good. And to me, they're calling cards. A lot of people are making these films for the ability to make another film, or to make a larger film, or to get discovered by Hollywood, and it's part of their career path. But I love the fact that there's so many stories out there that are being told. And I was surprised this year about this next one that we're going to talk about, because I'm old enough to remember the incident that this happened. And is it a Russian film, or is it just designed?
It's an American film.
It's an American film about a Russian thing. It's called Leica, and it's about a dog. So here's a clip from Leica.
560 miles above the Earth, at the speed of 18,000 miles an hour, circling the globe once every 96 minutes. Her heartbeat and body temperature into electrical signals that will be broadcast back to Earth.
I think you get a sense of what that film's. Mel, did you get a chance to see Leica?
I did.
What did you walk away with?
I was really impressed by this film. First off, it appears, if I'm reading the information correctly, that while the filmmaker has worked in film and TV for a long time, that this may have been their first like narrative that they made on their own.
Well, that happens. That's something that we see a lot of. We see people who've worked in the industry making their own first film. Yeah.
Yeah. And also that it's just a really striking animation style, and that it takes this turn in terms of its emotional tone to a place that's much more empathic. And I feel like that, that ties into one of the themes that we've been seeing in the selections this year, and just kind of connection and human emotion. But I don't want to give too much away. I will just say that it looks like it's going to be this cool, slick sci-fi short, and it ends up being something much more profound.
Mm-hmm. Oh, profound is
what block is that going to be? When are we showing that?
That one is, oh shoot, well, give me a second.
I was just looking. I have it. I mean, I couldn't find it quickly enough, so I don't want to spend too much time unless you can find it right away.
It's in Altair.
But I thought it'd be good for us to start telling people when these are going to be seen, so they can see them. Because one of the things I'm always impressed with what Suzzanne does is she packages these shorts, so she creates these experiences within it. There feels like there's an arc in that. Could you talk about that a little bit, Suze?
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't hear your question, Garen, about what block that was in. If I had heard it, I would have said Altair.
Oh, I thought it was, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah. But yes, I honestly, I could talk about this for so long. It is such an exciting process to after you've seen the submissions, you've seen the several hundred submissions, you've made the hard decisions, you whittle it down to the films that you would like to accept. You've read all the comments by our program committee, by our selection committee, and then you have your own likes and tastes to factor in there. And then you also have the audience. You want to think about what the audience will enjoy. There are plenty of films that I love, Karen, this conversation all the time, that maybe the audience might not appreciate, but that I just absolutely need to see on the big screen and need to show it in front of this amazing group.
Our next film that we're going to do falls into that category.
Yeah, but then there's that really great process that I get to take these, the 40 or 50 films and then put them into program blocks, meaning, we want to show like a block of about 90 minutes, 85 minutes of shorts. And it's a tough thing, not only because you're dealing with time and you're dealing with minutes and this one needs to go in this block because it's too long, this one's too short, but this one doesn't go with the flow of that block, and the storyline in this block is emerging as something totally different. So then at the last minute, I take another one out and put another one in, and that goes on for about 2 weeks. And then I have to watch all the blocks from start to finish, several times to just see, what is happening, with that group of films in each block of shorts. So it's so fun, and they all become my babies. All these films just become these little fake creatures that I then release out for the audience to see, and then I get really nervous because I hope they like them. I hope the audience likes what we select. So.
You're nodding your head, Melissa. Are you agreeing with all that?
Well, it's kind of like putting together a mixtape in a way.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Very nice. I like that. Yes, exactly.
So, yeah, it's like you don't want them to all be the same. You want to get a kind of nice, smooth transitions in terms of pacing and tone and I mean, I think Suze does a great job.
Oh no, she does. I mean, I will shamelessly tell people what a great job she does. I mean, and I've been amazed and she just reminded me it's been 10 years that she's been working with us, and I can't imagine a time without her. So,
and
I will gush shamelessly. So,
and we may have to have a talk after this, Suze, about the whole maybe people. I hope they like them. Maybe
I hope they like them. You never know.
You never know. You know, as a programmer, you never know, and sometimes you get surprised when you put something together and you're not quite sure it meshes well, but all of a sudden, when you see it on the screen in front of an audience, it just meshes so nicely, and the audience leaves with this really full experience rather than just something not quite sort of like an eclair or something like that.
And this is actually really interesting because it's calling out one other thing is that the curators are having conversations about what they like and what they don't like with their programmers, but there is that silent partner in the room, which is the audience.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like, if you're doing your job right, you're thinking of the audience as much as you're thinking of your own taste.
Yeah, absolutely. Suze, you'd mentioned about we've been working along together for a long time, and that there were certain things we know about each other. This next film, as soon as I saw it, I said, this is a Suze film, and it's called Last Cigarette, and here is a clip of that.
いつに時間を無駄にしてるでしょって言われたこと考えたことある？緊急事態宣言が始まった時ゾンビが来たのかもってアホなこと考えてたの。これが世界の終わりかって。結局あれが世界の終わりじゃなかった。
So, Suze, am I wrong about this? Is this a Suze film?
Oh, it's a total Suze film. Totally. There have been so many Suze films the last 10 years. So many that are like, oh, it's a Suze film. Yep. But it's this film is, it's all dialogue, all story, slow burn, great young actresses. I couldn't look away from it.
Well, it's more. I mean, the shot selection and editing is also key for a film like that to work.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah.
Yep. And the slow burn aspect, it's like it. Within like what is it? Maybe 7 to 10 minutes, they managed to get that slow burn, and so by the time you realize what's happening, you're just like, again, edge of your seat. What is going on here? And then, yes, this is a me kind of film too.
Yep. Yay.
Well, you guys have both got great taste. What can we taste? And then our next film is called Harlem Fragments. And what I love about this is that our programming team has been looking at Afrofuturism for a long time and trying to find good examples of it. And we found a couple in the past, but this seems to be a cut above of it with a kind of resonance that I wasn't really expecting, but it's there. Am I mistaken in that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I have watched this film over and over. I feel like I see something new and feel something new every time I watch it. No, you're spot on. This one's really special in a lot of ways.
So let's take a clip. Let's take a look at Harlem Fragments.
T minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Main engine start. 4, 3, 2, 1. Engines functional. Prepare for stage 1 separation.
When I think about this film, I start thinking about one of those themes that I feel are part of the 2025, and that is trying to find ourselves in a world we don't quite understand. It's not quite existential, but it seems that since post-COVID, we are disjointed and feeling even more disassociated with our communities. And Melissa, I'm wondering if, again, what do you think of that idea?
Well, one thing, and it's funny, I didn't really even think of this until we just saw the clip, but so we know that historically, science fiction has been a genre used for people to try to sort of make sense of the world, or what might be in the future, to find these as these sort of metaphors for what's going on in society. And this film is actually showing a boy doing that, creating that process in his own head through his own imagination. So in a way, it's kind of meta. But I think that this film is, and I'm sorry, I've totally spaced on your question, but aside from the
you have the first one.
Yeah. Aside from all that, I think I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't see that before. I think aside from that, I mean, this is just like, you can just look at those few seconds of film. This is just a simply gorgeous movie, and there's just everything about it is so inviting. It's look, it's beautiful jazzy soundtrack, the sense of familiarity that exists. It's like, it starts in the 2008, or it kind of stems from the 2008 financial crisis. Who doesn't have a memory or a story related to that? And then just that and family tension. So it's like this great genre film that is so deeply grounded in experiences that are very human and very relatable.
So,
Yeah.
Susan, the constriction of the short format, does that enhance the ability to tell a story such as Harlem Fragments?
I think it has to, because every moment that is every moment that the audience sees on screen, every second and every minute that ticks by is precious, because you're trying to tell this story in like you said, in such a constricted, maybe a shorter form. I mean, I could definitely see this film being a feature. I mean, I want to know more about these people. I want to know more about this family. I want to see the story from start. I mean, you do see the story somewhat from start to finish, but the family has a history before this movie began. So I think, yeah, I would say it does. Yeah, to answer your question, yeah, I think having having making the choice to create cinema in such an abbreviated way is, I think it has to happen, and I think it does. I think the length does affect the outcome. There are plenty of films that I see, that I think we all see, as part of a program team. You see it in features as well, that maybe you might have taken some liberties to take off, cut a little here or there, or maybe dive into a storyline. I don't want to ever say cut, but dive into a storyline deeper. Maybe switch directions in the script on what you see on screen. But these short films are so tight, and the story and the script are so tight, and the performances have to be as tight. And that is really the difference between a film that, that really is, that makes it into the final cut, and films that, that are almost there. And there were so many films that really could have made it. And then of course we have our own time constriction. We only have, so much time in our festival to tell these stories. So the time constriction goes through the entire process, including what the audience sees.
I didn't know this until maybe it was Melissa, maybe you told me this the other day, is that we show as many shorts as Sundance does.
Do we?
And I know that we show a lot of shorts.
And we've shown more in the past. This year was very selective.
Yeah,
it's real close.
But to me, it's like, again, this is where we meet the filmmakers, because one of the things that we do is, after any filmmaker who attends and their film is in or is being screened by us, we're going to do a Q&A afterwards. So the audience gets to sit back and ask questions that are immediately answered by the people who created and made these films. I love that interaction. It's great. So.
Yeah, and the audience is smart. They ask such amazing questions. There's usually we all need to usually recover a couple of minutes after everything is done and get our bearings. But that's just a great part of what we do, and the festival is just seeing the creative people behind these works. It's really an honor.
The next film that we want to talk about, Late Bet, is stop motion animation, which I love.
Me too.
I love stop motion animation. Let's take a look at it and we'll talk about it on the other side. Mel, for those who don't know, which I'm assuming everyone does, do you want to explain a little bit what stop motion is?
Sure. So stop motion is the process by which the animator uses some kind of material, be it puppets or clay or paper, and animates by shooting frame by frame and manually moving the items with each shot.
Laborious.
And I feel like now's a good time to mention that not only is the filmmaker from Harlem Fragments coming to the fest, Cameron Tyler Carr, but so is Michael Granberry, the director of Les Bêtes. And I don't know if now is the moment that I should fangirl, but I have to do a little bit of fangirling about this filmmaker. So in addition, so this filmmaker is currently, their work is being seen in the current season of Apple TV Severance.
Mm-hmm.
He animated the corporate video that is in episode 1, that sort of makes the connecting tissue between season 1 and season 2. But he has also worked on films including Wendell and Wild, which is pretty great. And he was also an animator on Anomalisa, which is a Charlie Kaufman stop motion animated film, a little bit more of a deep cut, but just an amazing stop motion feature length film. So yeah, so maybe people want to come corner him with me.
Well, and again, for people who don't know what stop motion, all you have to do is say King Kong.
That's true.
King Kong
Or
was
Ray Harryhausen.
the earliest example.
Ray Harryhausen.
Yep. So it's like Ray Harryhausen.
Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah, all that stuff is good. So yeah, I can't wait for him to be there, and I'm really looking forward to having to see how the crowd reacts to it.
Yeah,
so.
This film was. I've told the story to our team, but when I saw Les Bêtes, when I was screening films, when I saw this one set the bar. I immediately selected it right then and there and just said, this is in, and everybody else has to come up with this one is, in their own way. All the films are so very different. And I love just the trailers that you've shown tonight. You can just see just the range of artistry, that we in story.
And you can't take your eyes off of it.
Yeah.
And man, talk about a different shade of dark too.
Yeah.
Yes. But you kind of want to hug them too.
I fear that we're letting people know that this is all really dark, dank stuff, that you're going to walk away wanting to slash your wrist because you're feeling miserable about the world. I mean, the world is miserable to begin with. So
no, Lay Bed is a delight.
It's a delight. Yep, it's a delight. Yeah, so people will leave with a smile on their face with this film.
Well, our final short that we're going to talk about, surprisingly enough, is up for an Oscar. And I don't know, did it make the final cut for the Oscar or not?
It did.
It did. Wow. That's great. Great for us. Great for the thing. And it's from Netherlands. It's called I Am Not a Robot. And, I think this joke was running around the internet like a couple of years back, but someone has finally made a movie about it. So here is I Am Not a Robot.
Tyfus. Ik kom er niet doorheen.
Heeft u de pagina al eens ververst?
Ja, een paar keer.
Wat is er, liefje?
En als u alles wegklikt en de boel weer even opnieuw opstart?
Ja, ook al gedaan.
Maar u komt er niet doorheen?
Nee, daarom bel ik. Hallo?
Ja, ik begrijp dat dit misschien een beetje een persoonlijke vraag is, maar zou het eventueel ook zo kunnen zijn dat u, ook echt een robot bent, zeg maar?
Nou, nee.
Laten we eerst even gaan zitten, Lara.
Dat weet u zeker?
Ik ben geen robot.
It makes me smile.
I love that. He's like, yep.
Yeah.
Is so clever. So clever.
Very clever. And, that kind of wit, where it's kind of deadpanned at first, but it just goes on and gives you a great sense of, I don't know. I mean, how many times have we thought that we got stuck there where we got that robot thing wrong?
I did it today, and I was nervous doing it.
Well, Suze, maybe you're AI,
Could be. Well, I was so lucky.
Man, this movie, I will say, when we were talking about, how you can work the story in a short versus a feature, this film, and I won't get into any details, you're just going to have to see it. This film is a great example of using a short running time to do things that wouldn't work with a more expanded narrative. Like, I'm thinking the finale for this film, I don't know if it's something you could necessarily pull off as easily in a feature.
Well,
I don't think not these days.
Yeah.
Not these days. I mean, I think, when you hear people complaining about not necessarily the direct or the bad films coming out of Hollywood, but about how they're all the same and they don't have any creativity. If you're looking for creative storytelling and you're looking for great creative minds from around the world telling those stories, these shorts and other programs that have shorts, like I know there's a DC Shorts program that does a great job. This is where you get to see the new filmmakers and their creativity at their best, at their earliest stages. It's truly mind-boggling at times.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Mel, on what you just said. This film is an excellent example of really utilizing a short form, and just you go along for the ride with this one, and it's just it's a quick ride, and it you're right, and I don't know that buildup would be as effective. Maybe it would. Who knows? That's the magic of filmmaking. But it sure is effective as a short film. Really.
Oh yeah.
So before we leave the shorts, why don't we tell people where they can find out more information about the shorts? It's Mel, you're close to the website. Do we have the shorts up there now?
Yes, we do. We have at this point we have titles and filmmakers and program information for all of the shorts at bostonscififest.com. And as far as more information about the individual shorts, follow our Facebook and Instagram accounts because Haley, our social media volunteer, has been doing some great work sharing information about the individual titles.
And you can also buy tickets at filmfreeway.com, Boston Sci-Fi, and you can buy. They'll see the tickets and has a list of all the films we're showing and the names and the directors of all the short films. Suze, is there something you're really, really proud of this year that kind of transcends other years?
A particular piece, a particular work?
Just nothing. Just something you know when as you're walking away from this, because it's like you said, it's like your baby,
Yeah.
your babies, and you set it out there, and you're kind of done with it.
Yeah.
So when you're walking away from it, what are you feeling?
I'm really grateful for each of the very apparent lived experiences that these filmmakers and creatives have on the entire team, directors, actors, producers, the musicians. Their lived experiences are the gift that we're getting, and we get that every year. I was really emotionally pulled. I am emotionally pulled when I, revisit these film blocks and the film selections that we have this year. And I hope that our audience feels the same way, that you are just, again, along for the ride. And I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful for their lived experiences. I'm grateful for a lot of the times, a lot of these stories are very personal, Harlem Fragments included. They're very personal, and these creatives are really trusting us with that story. And as we take it in and watch it unfold. So that's what I walked away.
That's a good one. I like that. I like that. And Mel, I'm going to put you on the spot for your final question. And I'm wondering, and I thought about this as we were talking, in relation to our current society's thirst or demand for short form film, such as TikTok and Reels and things like that. Where do we put these well thought out, well crafted, creative pieces?
That is a question that the industry has been trying to answer for a good long time. I feel like
I'm not, I don't think we should look for an industry answer. I'm
Yeah.
thinking about, what this is obviously part of who we are now, where creative minds are making these short films and we're submitting them to film festivals to find an audience. What is that saying about us as film goers, as film aficionados?
I think that it's interesting if you look at the data on social and people's viewing habits. It goes up and down. The amount of time video that you can put in an Instagram reel, the running time is actually expanding. It's not shrinking. So it could be that you'll be seeing more of that, and filmmakers just kind of taking it upon themselves to build their own followings and to go out that way, direct to the public. There are the options like The Dust and some touring shorts programs, things like that. But I feel like this is really, it could be a much better tapped resource. I mean, personally, I would love a return to the days where a short film is run before a feature. You know, just I know there's a lot of complications around that, but I think that we'll definitely see more outlaying of video over the internet in time. I also do think that while some filmmakers will go ahead and make that push to get their film out there, you know, to Suze's point, there's a lot of time, a lot of passion, and a lot of resources that are put into this work. And the big question is, okay, getting them out there, that's great. Getting them out there more is great. How do we try to work towards a place where this is a viable career path for a filmmaker?
Oh, that would be a tough one. That would be a tough one.
I know.
Well, guys, thanks a lot for talking about that. You can always find out more information about Boston Sci-Fi at bostonsci-fi.com. You can also find tickets at Film Freeway. Please follow us on Instagram. We don't do Facebook and Twitter anymore due to the fact that they're owned by billionaires who don't give a damn, except for getting money out of your pocket. Again, guys, thanks. We're going to close out with a trailer from our opening night film, which kind of shows the breadth of what we're doing with SF50 this year, because it's not only about science fiction, but it's also about science. But Melissa wants something else to say before we leave.
This just is a perfect moment to say that this film that you're about to show the trailer for was a find by our lead program director, Angela Burris. And I just wanted to call Angela out for her amazing work on the fest as well.
Okay. Well, yes, the whole team, as you guys know, I'm always humbled by you guys. It's just, you're awesome. You're just awesome human beings. So anyways, as we close out, you can find out more Boston podcasts on any place you get your podcasts. Go to our YouTube station. And here we are saying goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
This is probably the best view from here. You can just see it right down through there. It's the world's largest radio telescope. They listen for, I'm not sure what, maybe extraterrestrials.
When I was 13, we took a trip up to the observatory, and I was just like in nerd heaven.
It's an interesting discrepancy that we have this incredibly advanced, cutting-edge science and engineering going on in this fairly rural environment.
Some lovely decorations on the tree.
Welcome to West Virginia.
When I got here, I was told that there was no Wi-Fi here.
AT&T cell coverage completely covers everywhere but that dot.
The reason the telescope exists is because we're in a radio quiet zone. When you think about all that technology out there, all of that provides noise to our radio signals. If that signal's only coming once, and if your cell phone is on at that time, we might miss it.
We have what's called an interference protection group he can scan for. Cell phones, even Wi-Fi.
Oh, there's our first hit.
They picked an electric toothbrush one time.
I do daydream a lot about what it would be like to work at Green Bank. I can just imagine making my own observations with a telescope.
The proposed action is to substantially reduce the funding of the Green Bank Observatory.
If the Green Bank Observatory were to close, it would have a devastating effect.
I love the fact that my kids don't grow up holding onto these devices.
They're missing the point if they think they're just studying stars, because they're shaping a lot of young minds.
The everyday questions that occur here somewhere else would be the once-in-a-lifetime question.
If we were to find that there was somebody else out there, we could learn how did they survive. On the flip side of that, if we don't find anything, that would mean that it's extremely important for us to preserve our planet, to preserve our existence as a species.
It's hard for me to understand why God would make this whole universe and put human beings in just one place.
I think they're out there somewhere. But we should get better TV with a dish that big.